Whatever you say, Ichabod. If you think that will get you results, then fine. Do it your way. So far, this corpulent piece of shit has kept his mouth shut about his involvement. When whatever you plan to do fails, I'll be happy to pry it open for you. As long as we get results. So far, this corpulent piece of shit has kept his mouth shut tight. I was just about to pry it open for him. I've heard that before. Of course, everything must stay below the radar, so to speak. Well, that's how I am choosing to interpret your frazzled little speech. Violence isn't the issue, as long as we don't get caught. You see what I've been dealing with? Doesn't mean he's not involved somehow. You think you're funny? You filthy little load. Look, Bigby, this isn't going to work. Show him who's in charge. Make him talk. You're making this too easy. He's going to walk all over you if you don't rough him up a little first. He's never gonna talk if you treat him like a fucking prince! What's next, Bigby? You gonna give him a massage? Offer him a nice steak dinner? This is ridiculous. I would be more willing to see things your way if you were actually getting results. But this fool hasn't said anything of value since you showed up. Get your answers, or I'm taking over. I'd like to see you try. Like hell it is. You think you're getting results? No, he hasn't. He's just saying whatever it takes to get you to move on and offer him a little treat. He's playing you. You're just too dense to see it. You can't get results without using a little muscle. Shut up, old man. This is how it has to be. I don't believe this. Has he actually answered any of your questions? How do you know, Beauty? This is absolutely absurd. And not getting any answers from him this way. I thought this was supposed to be a murder investigation, but you're treating this guy like a fucking house guest! You were making progress before. What is this patty cake shit? Did you figure that out? Do you have any idea where you might find him? Then tell me. Who is the murderer? You don't, because he's not talking! I am done sitting on the sidelines. Will you butcher this investigation? And you're going to let this ignorant shit walk out of here in one piece. Snow White is dead. One of us. Out of my way. I'll show you how it's done. Teaching him a lesson. Now pay attention. What you didn't have the stomach to do. Well, isn't this a surprise? I still don't understand. How are you alive? Careful, don't you want to find out who did this? Not that I don't appreciate the change of circumstances. I've already heard your opinion. I was hoping you'd say that. Ready to talk, or do you want some more? You think you can control me? I am not your hired help. I do not work for you. I will act as I see fit, and there's no way a small, scared little man like you is going to stop me. That's not a very good answer, is it? Come on, just tell me what I want to know. It will make things a lot less painful for you, in theory. You ignorant fuck. Hello, Ichabod. Sheriff, I was just chatting with our new friend. If I remember correctly, you came crawling to me for help. That was pre-amnesty. What are you going to do about this, Bigby? This is ridiculous. From both sides, too. Tell us what she stole from you. Are you really just going to let him blather on like that? This is just gossip. You think that's going to help you find Snow White's killer? Why are you going so easy on him? You know he's involved. Anyone can see that. Or what? You'll give me a glass of brandy? Immensely. I could say the same about you. Are you going to tell us what she stole from you? Or is that some big secret as well? You don't call the shots here, D. Sounds like you have more to say. Interesting. Not to worry. I can take over from here. Take your best guess. I forgot about your brother. Dumb, right? How appropriate. What do you think? No, there's more to it. You said you were trying to find something. Your boss. Are you really gonna let him off that easy? He's obviously hiding something. I honestly don't know why you're not more concerned about this. Just relax, Ichabod. Bigby knows what he's doing. Observe what? He's not doing anything. Are you just going to stand there? Because I'm perfectly willing to step in for you. This clearly isn't working. Why don't you start by telling us what you're up to? Same thing. Come on, let him have a little fun. Yes, But who is it? And why does she look like Snow White? Sometimes you have to play the bad cop. You know that. Right. And how would you know? You don't know her very well, do you? Any minute now. This could be the lunatic who killed Miss White. Possibly the other girl, too. And you want Bigby to be nice. He's being too nice to him. Anyone can see this isn't working. It's time to try a different tactic. Not yet. Wasting time. Can't you tell? The situation! Snow White is dead! Can we get this going? Hit him! Or something. Bigby, you need to do something. Someone killed Snow White in the most gruesome of— This isn't working, Bigby. Yes, it's time to get more creative. Don't you want to find out what happened to those girls? To Snow White? How can we be certain you're really you this time? I mean, it's her. This is pointless. I couldn't agree more. For once, this is going nowhere. Amazing how he somehow manages to make this look difficult. I would have cracked him by now if you hadn't interrupted before. Come on, Bigby. You have other options. Use them. It's obvious he's not giving anything up this way. Make him pay for it. Keep pushing it, Bigby. He'll give up what he knows. Can we move this along? If you need some assistance, I'd be more than happy to provide some. It appears your words have lost their bite. Sheriff, are you just going to take this? It's time for action, Bigby. Do something. Hello, Sheriff. Come to help? He will tell us eventually who killed Snow White. I have too many methods to inspire him. It's hardly been used. Yet. I didn't. Well, barely. Because I think I have a secure handle on things. Good. I didn't think you'd have any objections, of course, to this whole thing. Not with your history. But sometimes people surprise you. Oh, really? What does it look like? How was your stint in jail, by the way? You know I was the one who bailed you out, so to speak, don't you? You're welcome. I have experience with this, you know. Conducting interviews with reluctant subjects. There's an art to it. Certainly, Ichabod. I merely wish to remind Bigby here of the circumstances. Oh, don't be shy now. The more holes I poke, the more insipid labor songs this idiot struggles to cough back at me. Look sharp, Whitman. You have visitors. You'll need it later. Save your energy. Whenever you're ready, Sheriff. Do you see now what I've been dealing with? What are you going to do about this? You will eventually be leaving this room, Woodsman. How intact you are when you finally do is entirely up to you. I could have told you that. He can tell you. Some sort of pathetic defensive mechanism. Never mind that, though. He said Snow wasn't even supposed to be there. Now what do you exactly take that for? He knows what's happening. Much like the man himself, I'd say. Yes, you did. This is ridiculous. Of course he knows why he said it. Talk. Now. Then you should have absolutely no problem telling us, should you? Who were you expecting? Who did you want to show up, and why? What was this about? What were you up to? If he gets on the streets. What? We're finally getting somewhere. My point. Exactly. Oh, give me a break. Exactly. Bigby, this isn't the time to go backwards now. A detour's just as likely to get us lost. Fine. Do what you want. Keep us stuck. I don't care. No, ignore him. Keep doing what you're doing. Eschew the formalities, Sheriff. If you lean on kindness, this is never going to work. How about some tea, madam? Or perchance you'd fancy a back rub? No! This whole thing has been completely absurd! He's going to keep stringing us along with this impertinent nonsense. Cuddling this worm isn't going to work! At an idle pace. This imbecile will have him going in circles somewhere. I don't want to get somewhere. I want to get to the identity of the murderer. If you don't have the stomach for it, you can always wait outside. This is how these sessions have to be conducted. Well, there are always ways around that. What does that matter? Why not? I should be leading the interrogation. I'm beginning to think he's just an idiot. His rights are on temporary leave. Well, now there's a thought. This barbarian knows more than he's letting on. You can't continue to treat him like some stupid American waif. Well, congratulations, Sheriff. We've been here for God knows how long, and what do we have to show for it? You had the right idea earlier, but then softened up. We're never going to get anywhere just chatting with him. No, they don't. They're not working at all. I am here to find Snow White's killer, and seeing how much you've embarrassed yourself, I'm glad for her sake that I am. Or what? Because if today's events have been any indication, I have nothing to fear from your pitiful threats. Oh, now you turn on the charm. Then you have no imagination, I'm sorry to say, because my best is a whole lot better than this. Bigby, look, you had your turn. Now it's time to try things my way. Now, move aside so I can expedite things. Snow White is dead. She was one of us, not one of them. They scramble around in the streets like rats. And to think one of them would dare kill one of us is just more than I can stomach this year, thank you. How worse can they get? You are no friend to justice, Bigby. You will never learn. Just questioning a suspect. Are you sure? Don't think for a moment this gets you off the hook, because I'm certainly not. He could still be. Then who? You were dead. A thorough retelling of the woodsman's sexual misadventures. How about we take off his pants next, and you can suck him off? Duty called. Oh, this is a fine show, isn't it? Why don't you start with the first girl, the prostitute? Where were you when she was murdered? Think you can handle it? Yes. What did you tell him? Oh, give me a break. Let's see where this goes. This is going nowhere. Patience, Ichabod. He'll crack him. You'll see. What's the point of this? Quiet! What the hell is he doing? Really? Looks like your good cop game is played out. Enough threats. Show him you mean it. Ichabod's right. He's grown used to your punches. It's time for more extreme measures. Don't fall for his lies, Bigby. He knows something. Looks like you'll have to beat it out of him. Come on! Come at me! Come on. Come on! Give it your best. You were never cut out for this. You were never cut out for this. You were never cut out for this. Take that! Fool! Foolish dog. Foolish dog! Foolish dog! I knew this stupid plan wouldn't work. This farce was your ridiculous idea for a plan. I mean, who put you in charge in the first place? And all we've done is exactly what Crane wanted us to do, which is to waste precious time that would have been better spent cooking and eating this wretched monkey. Unofficially is not officially. Before you had no interest, and now it's a crime scene. Oh, now it's evidence. I've no interest in nicking his drapes, my dear, if that's what concerns you. Really now. And what? You gonna stand here and babysit me while the rest of your leads evaporate into mist? They can't get any more messed up. What's going on? Is the mirror fixed yet? Is the mirror fixed or isn't it? You called me to... So, can we find the dull pervert or not? None of my business? Crane's the murderer. He escaped. It seems he's foiled your every attempt at locating him. And now it's none of my business? Oh, please. Of course he is. The cat's out of the bag. Well, you did, and I know. We hardly talk all the time. Besides, why spend time on such gutter snipe? Oh, it isn't? AM or PM? I don't think you're in any position to turn away help. What's the ring? Why? I'm invested in this enterprise we call Fabletown. Literally invested. Since it's mostly my money that keeps the whole thing running. And tonight I hear that Crane has been killing fables? And there's no system in place to catch him? Only that you've wasted enough time doing nothing. That he has the stones to kill prostitutes like any common sex-frightened serial killer and not face a real challenge. Ignore me? Who elected her to spend my money? And a few shorter hours the more you babble about it. Look, this is how a smart person would do it. So this is how we're going to do it. Wherever you go, I'll go to the other. Want to go to the Tweedle's office? Fine. I'll go to Crane's. Want to go to Crane's? Great.
I'll go to the Tweedles. We can't get Mayor Cole on the phone. And suddenly she's everyone's Lord and High Council. Who elected you to make these decisions? Well then, excuse me for having the Commonwealth in mind. Perfect. And I'll go to those two imbeciles' office. Perfect. And I'll go to Crane's apartment. You're a secretary! He's the sheriff! And none of you are chosen to run this office! I don't really care what you two do. I'm going to his apartment. Then I'll pick the blasted lock! I've wasted enough time waiting for the mirror to find him. I won't waste any more. Yeah, and why the hell not? Ha! Or the sniveling weasel chickened out. Never went anywhere. And is upstairs right now in his pitiful penthouse, crafting a fort out of couch cushions. They're hired thugs, morons. Like Bigby here. And Bigby is free to go there if he likes. But I think the question you should be asking is just what do the two Tweedles know about this? They're not smart enough to try and go anywhere else.
Obviously, there will have to be some changes.
Seems your dog wants a biscuit. Tell that stupid reptile to hold his tongue. Are you denying the facts? I don't care who killed the prostitutes. If Crane was helping himself to the community coffers, it means his hand was in my pocket, and you just let him go! I can't believe you're even entertaining this! He's endangering all of us! Running around without a glamour. He needs to go to the farm. At the very least out of my sight. He's the one who let Crane get away, isn't he? You're thinking second class, you nitwit. And that would be a generous assessment. Don't go far, Sheriff. What I want is my business. I paid dearly for it to be so. If you ask me, you're everything that's wrong with Fabletown. Always with your hand out. Zero sense of self-reliance. What the devil is that supposed to mean? You must be getting soft, Sheriff. Well, then get on with it. I think I'll come back when Snow has cleaned out the vermin from her office. I don't have to stand here for this. You need to teach your animal to behave himself. What's good for me is good for Fabletown. You should learn to treat your betters with the appropriate respect. I was simply endeavoring to make the search a speedy one. Surely you, of all people, can't fault me for getting overzealous in the process. He worked for them, didn't he? I couldn't be sure that he wasn't involved, and I didn't want him interfering. Nothing definitive. I see. You're at a loss. So now you're interested in my search. The clue that hinted at the witch's identity, but nothing solid enough to act on at the time. Unfortunately, there was nothing definitive. I expected you to ask about him, at least not without a very expensive spell. I'm not a mind reader. We've met. He's a scratch golfer, but it's always been casually arranged. In fact, if I remember correctly, he just shows up and leaves, very much on his own schedule. He probably mistakes himself for my peer. Why would I? I'd be surprised if anyone had. You don't become a man of means by tipping your hand at every turn. Not that you'd know. If you're waiting for me to volunteer information, I simply don't have any. One rarely spills their secrets over a round of golf. I thought you were going to ask the magic mirror. If the monkey ever gets it fixed, he hasn't invited me over for tea. If that's what you're driving at, now I really must be off. Some of us have schedules to keep. Now I really must get to my business with Miss White. Miss White, are you about ready? I'm sure experience has given you that impression. So, care to explain why you let that thief Crane just stroll off? So, are you complicit? Or just incompetent? It's a very strange decision for the sheriff to make. I can't think of any other explanations. I wouldn't be so sure. Are you no longer able to fulfill your duties, Sheriff? That doesn't answer the question of, and that's another thing. Have you completely given up on finding Crane? Did he murder those prostitutes? Except perhaps that you're both. I have a schedule to keep, so let's have it, or be done with it. And I'm not about to stand around waiting for a thought to form in your head. Indefensible. But as far as questions go, it's a bit broad, don't you think? And here I thought you were going to be just full of questions. Given Ichabod's obsession with Miss White, I thought it best to make sure that nothing untoward saw the light of day. I didn't cause any permanent injuries. I'm not finished here, Miss White. I'd like to have a few words of my own with you. I went out and did my part. What are you doing to find Crane? I do so enjoy our talks. I'll wait with bated breath. Oh, really? Then tell me, what evidence did I burn? I'll come back later. when you've cleared this office of vermin. I've just made my donation funding this office, so direct your questions to Miss White. I have many other matters to attend to. We've met. He's a scratch golfer, but it's always been casually arranged. In fact, if I remember correctly, he just shows up and leaves, very much at his own convenience. Miss White, I look forward to having your undivided attention next time I come here. I paid dearly for it to be so. What the devil is that supposed to mean? If you ask me, you're everything that's wrong with Fabletown. Always with your hand out. Zero sense of self-reliance. That doesn't answer the question of, I wouldn't be so sure. It's a very strange decision for the sheriff to make. So, are you complicit? Or just incompetent? Except perhaps that you're both. I can't think of any other explanations. I went out and did my part. What are you doing to find Crane? But as far as questions go, it's a bit broad, don't you think? I expected you to ask about him. What's good for me is good for Fabletown. You should learn to treat your betters with the appropriate respect. The clue that hinted at the witch's identity, but nothing solid enough to act on at the time. Nothing definitive. I see. You're at a loss. So now you're interested in my search. Unfortunately, there was nothing definitive. You need to teach your animal to behave himself. Miss White, I look forward to having your undivided attention next time I come here. Now I really must be off. Some of us have schedules to keep. Miss White, are you about ready? So let's have it, or be done with it. I have many other matters to attend to. At least not without a very expensive spell. I'm not a mind reader, and here I thought you were going to be just full of questions. He probably mistakes himself for my peer. Why would I? I'd be surprised if anyone had. You don't become a man of means by tipping your hand at every turn. Not that you'd know. If you're waiting for me to volunteer information, I simply don't have any. One rarely spills their secrets over a round of golf. You're thinking second class, you nitwit, and that would be a generous assessment. I'm sure experience has given you that impression. He's the one who let Crane get away, isn't he? I'll come back later, when you've cleared this office of vermin. What's good for me is good for Fabletown. Oh, really? I didn't cause any permanent injuries. He worked for them, didn't he? I couldn't be sure that he wasn't involved, and I didn't want him interfering. We've met. He's a scratch golfer, but it's always been casually arranged. In fact, if I remember correctly, he just shows up and leaves, very much at his own convenience. Stop the charade. We know you're involved. He was a murder suspect. He's guilty. What are you talking about? We can't let him live. It's too dangerous. That's not good enough. So let's get on with it then. You're really going to let him talk? I sincerely hope not. Of course it's right. This man tormented all of you for profit. Georgie killed him. Yes. Yes. What are you waiting for? The laws apply when we need them to. I mean, a certain level of privilege should be afforded to but she's not the deputy mayor yet. He is the only officially appointed representative here. Do you really think that's going to work? It's what the people want, Miss White. This is going nowhere. I hope you aren't suggesting yourself. What do you think this is? What's she doing here? We're kind of in the middle of something. What? I didn't think you had it in you, Bigby. Justice, maybe? Which, in this case, and yours. Having some personnel issues, Miss White? Can't control your mutt? How do you expect to enforce that? He also earned the position. Need some help, Miss White? Listen, friends, please. It isn't Bigby's fault. He can't control his nature. And frankly, I wouldn't dare ask him to try. Just as a scorpion stings, the wolf must bite. Please, do not blame the sheriff for his outburst. But with a sheriff so impulsive, shouldn't the new deputy mayor have at least some command over her office? Are either of them fit to run this town? Excuse me? Who the hell is she? But, what is the meaning of this? Well, we're in the middle of something. While that's all very touching, is it enough? I'm still not convinced Miss White has what it takes to control the sheriff. Or run this town. We'll see. That was different. Oh, please. Well, Nerissa, please step aside. How long have you been standing there? Finish it, Sheriff. This isn't the way, Sheriff. Maybe it's time we reconsider the pecking order. This isn't a dictatorship, Miss White. Good morning, Miss White. Well, why the blazes, why didn't you get any at the market? Hobbs, are we out of garlic? What's going on? Is the mirror fixed yet? Is the mirror fixed or isn't it? You called me to